Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, where ordinary heroes tell extraordinary stories during unique and never been heard before conversations with your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Hilary's unique listening and way of asking questions results in conversations that aren't usually talked about, so you can create the life that you really want but are afraid you can't really have. We are demonstrating the greatness in the human spirit and creating a world where we all reclaim our birthright of joy, happiness, purpose, and passion. Now, here's your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, and today we have a very special guest. We have Eileen Kopsaftis. She is a movement educator, a nutrition educator, and is certified in applied functional science. Welcome to the studio, Eileen.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me, Hilary.
You're welcome. So we just had some technical difficulties, but now we're going. So yes. Okay.
Yes.
So let's see. I like to go back. Where were you born? I know you had some stuff you were going to talk about with your growing up, but where were you born, and how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I was born in Connecticut. So you could call me a true Yankee, I guess.
Where? That's where I am.
Oh, in Waterbury?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm in Westport.
Okay. And well, I think we left before I was even 3 months old. So
okay. I don't remember much. Yeah.
I lived all over the country, moved like 30 something times between the time I was born and the time I graduated high school. So it was an interesting
Was your father in the service, or
no? A lot of people ask that.
Yeah.
He was a contractor. He was always looking for work. The grass was always greener someplace else. So
30 times. That's like at least like twice a year or something.
Yeah. Well, 9th grade was New York State, Arizona, and Florida. So.
And did you have brothers and sisters?
I grew up with 2 older brothers. Yes.
And when you say it that way, are they not around?
No. They both died in their 40s.
Oh.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. One to cancer, one to heart disease. Although that was kind of inconclusive. He just didn't wake up. And I guess the autopsy was inconclusive. So
sorry. Okay. So you all moved, right? Yes. So you all moved. Okay. Wow. So what was that like? I guess it was hard to make friends.
Yeah, I was a very shy kid, so it wasn't easy. And my love for reading is, I think, what saved me. It was like my saving grace. I could bury myself in a book and just join a whole nother world. Reading just uses your imagination and puts you other places. And so reading was my saving grace. I still remember my father's father lived on a farm, and they had a big old farmhouse. And upstairs in the attic, there were a bunch of books. And this was the attic where you had to like pull the ladder down and climb up the ladder to go into it. Now, you would think as a little girl that would scare me, but there were a lot of windows. So there was light. It wasn't dark. And I went up there because the books, it was like a magnet. And I remember reading Lord of the Rings. It was the first time I picked up a Bible and looked at that. I mean, there were so many amazing books up there. I spent hours up there whenever I could.
So were they fiction? Were they?
Most of them were, yeah.
Oh.
Which is funny. As an adult, I tend to only read nonfiction, but yeah.
Oh, cool. Nice. I know.
Unless I'm at the beach, and then I'll read fiction when I'm at the beach.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of people who were saved by books, which I think is really, I love books. So
yeah, it's a whole another world.
Yeah. You just jump into someone else's life.
Yeah. And the characters and the storylines. And
yeah. Okay. So, all right. So from Waterbury to everywhere, there was no place you really settled, right? Your father just...
No, we tended to be in upstate New York more than any other place, but we'd bounce back and forth. Okay. So
what kind of contractor was he?
Oh, he did everything. Plumbing, masonry. Yeah.
Okay. And so we had talked before we started about how you led, I don't know if you still do, a support group for people who were abused.
Yes, it's called Choose Freedom.
Okay.
It's run under Cameo Ministries. A dear friend of mine and I started it back in 1999.
Wow.
And we, every Monday night, we have a meeting. And currently, I'm teaching
Still?
other women to learn how to lead the group now, because obviously these women who've experienced abuse of any kind are very fragile, very delicate, and you need to be sure that you don't make mistakes that will cause harm. So we've learned over the quarter of a century plus.
Mm-hmm.
We have a workbook. We work on things like anger, fear, forgiveness. And it's life-changing. I've seen so many women healed by God that it's phenomenal. Like women who hated their bodies, no longer hated looking in the mirror. Women who hated men, happily married with children.
Wow.
Yeah, seen a lot of amazing success. And some of their stories would keep you awake at night. But it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to be part of that group and to watch them heal. It's been a great blessing in my life.
And you had abuse in your childhood, right? That's
Yes. And here's the funny part. So my dear friend who had always had a vision to start this group, and when we met, I felt like, okay, I think I'm supposed to help you start this group. And the interesting part is I said, well, I don't really have a history of abuse, so I won't be able to relate to these women. And she said, well, it doesn't really matter. You just need a heart for the women. Okay. And then the very first time we have what we call story night, where the women share their stories. And I realized, wait a minute. I was like sexually abused for 9 years, but because I wasn't like threatened physically or forced. I mean, it started at the age of 4. And it was just this dirty little secret. And I never, it's so weird. It was almost like my brain, I mean, I didn't forget my past. It's not like I had amnesia, but I didn't think of the fact that I had actually experienced abuse.
And was it a family member?
Yes, 2 family members. Yes.
4 years old. Wow. So it was just a thing, right?
Yeah. It was just something that happened. So, but what I can, and then of course there was a lot of violence in my household. There was a lot of rage, lack of control of anger, those kind of things. But the interesting part is that I joke in the group, and I don't want to say joke, but I make this comment because obviously none of this is a joking matter.
Right.
But I make this comment and I say, I'm actually thankful for my past because it's what caused me to be who I am. And if I had had some perfect life, I'd be some empty-headed little twit who couldn't help anybody. So I see my past as a positive because it's enabled me to help so many other people get out of that life of, the having triggers to things. Like, it's an abnormal response to something, and it's because of the past. And so, like my dear friend who started the group, she also experienced a great deal of abuse. I mean, her father sold her to other men, and there was satanic ritual abuse and all kinds of things that went on. She actually wrote a book about it that she was healed. But here's the thing. She was triggered. She would go buy a wrought iron fence every day on her way to work, and she'd get triggered by that. And what I mean by triggered is start to kind of have a panic attack. And then she realized it's because there was a wrought iron fence around the house that her father used to bring her to. So there may be people listening to this right now who get triggered by things and they have no idea why. And usually it's because your body thinks you're in the same danger you were in when it happened because of that memory of whatever. It could be a color, it could be a cologne, it could be a sound. So we had one woman who was triggered by laughter, and we think that her abuser must have laughed a lot. So those triggers, you can be healed.
Yeah.
You can learn. We call it a plastic spider. It's like once you're healed from that past trauma, the memory is still there. It doesn't go anywhere, but it no longer triggers the emotional response. Like I could sit here, and I'm not going to, but I could sit here and tell you every single detail of everything that ever happened to me, and I will have no emotional thought about it whatsoever. And it's not like I'm numb. I haven't turned my emotions off, because that doesn't work either. Because you can't only turn off one emotion. When you turn off emotions, you turn them all off. You can't just turn off fear, or you're going to turn off love. You're going to turn off compassion and empathy. You're going to turn off everything. You're just going to be numb. So
when you said you were going to help her start it, you had no idea that you had been abused.
No, I didn't even think of it.
But something.
I know, and you should have seen the look on her face,
right?
when we did that first meeting where we started sharing our stories. You should have seen the look on her face. She was like, as I'm telling my story.
You had no idea you had a story, right?
And it was toward the end of the night. We finished up around 8:30. It was 8:15, and she had said, well, I think maybe we'll wait until the next time. And I said, oh, no, I'm going next. I can't wait till next week. There was no way I was going to have the courage if I had to wait a whole week. And, but the cool thing about sharing, it's not about dredging up the past and making you all upset again. It's about sharing what happened in a space that's safe, with no judgment and only love. And when you do that, and you look at all of the women, when you're done sharing, and everyone looks at you the same as they did before you share it, they don't see you as a different person, because you're not your past. You're not your trauma. So, yeah.
And I also think by sharing, but when when you're not sharing and it's just in you, there's a lot of shame.
Yes.
When you can share it out loud.
Yes.
That disappears, especially when you see, oh, I'm not really different than those other people. They have the same thing.
Yes, I love that you said that, Hilary, because that's the first thing that God healed me from was shame. I no longer felt shame about my past.
But you didn't even know it was there.
I know.
Well, you still had shame. Wow. Well, the other thing, I think it also separates us when we're not sharing, when we just keep it in. Like, I feel different. Like, well, I can't tell anyone because they're not going to love me anymore or something. And so then I just take myself away. But when you can share, and like you're saying, it was a safe place, there was love, no judgment.
Yes.
All of a sudden you return to community and connection, right? It's really a gift what you did. So
yes, absolutely. And of course, you don't just go out and stand on a rooftop and tell anybody who walks by.
Right.
You have to be discerning in who you share. But we had a lot of women who've gone through the course, and they said, I can't believe how many women now that I talk to who just start opening up to me about their past. And then, of course, they tell them about the group so that they can. But they're shocked at how many. It's kind of like, because they've gone through this, it's almost like it attracts other women to them on like a spiritual level. And they just start like sharing and opening up, and they talk about it. And it's very cool.
That's amazing. Like, they're not even talking about it. They just, wow. All right. Now, did you go to school for this? Like social whatever, or
no.
Psychology? No. Okay. So where did you go? So you had this abuse, but you didn't know it was abuse. I had stuff that I didn't know. I didn't think it was abuse. It was just like,
life.
I used to I
You mean
worked
this
at a
doesn't
movie.
happen to everybody? Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at a movie theater, and the guy who was the manager, he used to threaten to do sexual things and threaten me. He would lock me in the office, and I would say, "No, I will scream." And there was a whole movie theater full of people, so he never actually did it. And I
Mm.
would say, "Oh, that was just him, blah blah blah," and people were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"No,
That's
that's not
abuse.
okay."
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny, like, "Oh yeah, that's Mr. Hind," like,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't know. It's just life until
Right.
you do know. Yeah.
Right. Right.
I was just, yeah, that's him. Thank God I had the presence of mind to say I will scream.
Yes.
I wasn't there
Yes.
alone. So,
Would have been different. Yeah.
yeah. Woof. Anyway. Whew. Okay. All right. Now, so what did you go to school for?
Well, when I was 30, I was a single mom at the time. And
Wait. Go back. When did you have your or did you get
I got
married?
married at 18,
Married at
had
18.
my son at 19, and my daughter just before I turned 21.
Okay.
And then I ended up being a single mom about a year later.
Did he leave or you kicked him
Well,
out?
he had issues, drinking and anger, and so I was able to get him to leave.
Hmm.
So, and then he kind of disappeared because he didn't want to pay any child support. And so, and it was funny because I remember going to the courthouse and saying, because, there was all this thing about absentee fathers and you could get support. And they said, well, we can't do anything unless you have his address. And I said, well, if I had his address, I'd be knocking on his door, not yours.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. But anyhow, so I was a single mom. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs. And by the time I turned 30, I realized I needed to go back to school. My kids were now old enough where they could be in a room alone and I didn't have to worry about them hurting themselves, right?
So what kind of jobs did you work and what and
Oh,
where
I
did
was
you get
I was
there?
mainly in the food industry, so working in restaurants,
Okay.
waitressing, tending bar, hostessing, those
And who
jobs.
watched the kids?
My mom.
Your mom. Oh.
Yeah, yeah. Now I did have times where I had babysitters, but
Mhm.
that was always a nightmare because for some reason you just couldn't trust the babysitters to not have a party when you were at work.
Oh god.
And, or invite guys in, or, the babysitter would show up looking like Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm. And then by the third time she showed up, she looked like she should be working on 42nd Street. And you're like, what happened to that sweet little girl that I hired?
Wow.
So yeah, I had a lot of issues with babysitters. So my
Oh
mom
my
was my
god.
saving grace. She was able to help a lot. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right. So back to now you're 30.
Mhm.
Your kids are
Oh my gosh, they were
11 and 9. Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I decided that I wanted to go for nutrition. And I went to the local college to see if I could financially handle it, right? See what was available for loans and whatever. And the financial person spent like a half hour with me. They were very helpful. We went over everything and they said, "Oh, we can," and this was the local community college. And they said, "Oh, we can cover all your costs. You're eligible, because you're a single parent and all of this. You'll get TAP grants and Pell grants and all these grants and, you won't even need a loan." I'm like, "Okay, great." And then they asked me what I wanted it for and I said nutrition and they're like, "Oh, we don't have that here. That's only at like the ag and tech colleges and they're like a distance from here." And I'm like,
Mm.
I felt so deflated, but Hilary, I
What'd you
think
do?
because of my past, it made me very resilient.
Yeah.
And whenever I felt like deflated, like
Mhm.
somebody just popped my balloon, I would always reinflate it and go, there's another answer. There's another way. I would only allow me to be without air for about a minute. So I got in my car, I headed back to my house, which was 5 minutes from this college.
Mhm.
And I'm like, wait a minute. There's like 5 other colleges 30 minutes from me or less. One of them's got to teach nutrition. And so I went home and I got the phone book, right?
Mhm.
Because nobody knows what that is now. I got the phone book out and I just started calling the colleges. And there was a college that was literally 5 minutes from me that had a complete degree in nutrition.
Wow.
So they sent me the book. I realized I disagreed with everything they were teaching, and I'd probably be failed by the professor because
Mhm.
that doesn't usually work in college. And they had a section on physical therapy. And I'm like, I've always been so
Oh.
fascinated by the human body. So I decided, okay, I'll do the physical therapy. So I called them to ask them questions about it. And it was like they were trying to talk me out of it, which I found very interesting because you would think colleges would want people to enroll, right?
Yeah.
So they, oh, it's a very challenging program. Oh, it's, it's like pre-med. It's really hard, And every time they did that, I'm kind of like a bull that sees the
Yeah.
red cape when you say challenge. I'm going to prove I can do it. And so I think it just encouraged me even more. And then I figured out a way, because this was a very expensive college. And at that time, it was a 4-year degree. Now they've got it 6 or 7 years because
Yeah.
it's a doctorate. But at that time, it was 4 years. And I was able to finagle where I did the first 2 years at the local community college at like 1/10 the cost.
Where they had the grants.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my first 2 years were completely covered. And I worked my butt off. And I'm not saying this out of pride, because I spent so much time in the Learning Assistance Center where they had free tutors.
Oh.
I could have moved my bed there. So, I made sure my homework was right because that got graded. I made sure I used all the tutors that I could get, but I kept a 4.0 for
Wow.
73 credits because I knew I wouldn't be able to transfer into the 4-year school because they had like 200 applicants to transfer in.
Oh.
And if you weren't at the top of the list, you weren't even looked at. So because of that, I got a $5,000 a year scholarship from the college I transferred into. They called it a scholarship of excellence or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a total of 10 grand for my last 2 years. And I think I only ended up needing to take a loan out because the books were $600 a semester. So I only had to take a loan out for the books. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree for $2,400.
Wow.
So it's all about timing, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But and then when I went to take the licensure exam, they only offered it once a year back then, and it was given at the same time in every state. And when I called to apply for it for New York State, I was told that I missed the deadline. I'm like, what do you mean I missed the deadline? I guess they had a 60-day thing, and I didn't know that. So I'm like, oh, once again, my balloon got popped, but I didn't stay that way. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can take the test in any state. I don't have to take it here.
Oh.
And so I called New Hampshire, I called Vermont, I called Massachusetts, because I'm within driving distance of all these
Yeah.
states. And I met the requirements for New Hampshire. And so my husband took me to New Hampshire. I took the exam and we went out for lobster after.
Wait, was this a new husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We were engaged at the time.
Oh.
We got married after I graduated.
Did you have more kids with
I
him?
need to graduate and get my license.
Did you have more kids with him?
Yes. I have 2 younger daughters.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. Cool. Okay. So you did that. Now, meanwhile, you had started that other group. Was that group going all this time?
Oh, that group was going, since 1999. So that was, so I was I graduated in 1994. So you're right. Yeah, that didn't happen until after I graduated. I never looked at the timeline as much as you're asking me. So you're making me think here if you see smoke.
Yeah, I like chronology for some reason. I like to know the order of things. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I graduated in 1994. Yes.
Okay.
So,
But you were like 34 or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So your other kids were 15 and 13 at that point, right?
I trust you. You're doing the math.
Yeah. I'll do the math. Okay. All right. So they were doing okay, obviously. All right. So you did that. You did the PT. You got married. You had 2 more kids.
Not for a while. I was married for 5 years before we decided to have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you were 39 when you had them.
Just before I turned 41, because it was 1999 that I had my first daughter with him. And then 2003 when I had my second daughter, and I was 44 then.
Wow.
Yeah. I was very healthy.
So, all right. So you had studied physical therapy. Then when did you start studying? Oh, wait. So you didn't even start the group. You started the group after you had your third kid, right?
No, when I had Sarah, Sarah was a baby. She was born in 1999. We started Cameo when she was a baby.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about your other stuff. So,
Yes.
so you did the physical therapy, and then you finally did the nutrition. Where's my notes? Are on another page. Nutrition and the other one, the applied, what is
Yes, the applied functional science. No, those are things that took years
it? Okay.
because I was doing them very part-time because I was working. And I was also starting my own business.
Physical therapy?
No, teaching people movement and things. I would teach classes at the local community college. I did that for 15 years. As a matter of fact, I just did my last semester and I told them that I won't be submitting more. I just feel like I need to change things up a little bit. But I love to teach people how to move and train their body in a way that eliminates chronic pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just exercise, you know. There is a way to resolve pain in your body if there are body parts that aren't working properly. You just need to know to figure out which ones they are, because a lot of the times it's the part that's not where the pain is.
Right.
And the example is, you know, if somebody's got knee pain, it's almost never the knee. And now, obviously, it could be bone on bone. There could be structural issues, but 90% of the time, it's because they had an old ankle issue that never got resolved, and the ankle's not working right. So the knee is getting trashed, or their hip isn't functioning right, and they don't even know it because there's no symptoms there, but the knee gets trashed. So a lot of the times, the reason people can't eliminate chronic pain is because they're chasing the symptom and they're not finding the cause.
And how did you studied physical therapy. How did you get into movement? Like, how did you know this? Because there's plenty of physical therapists who do not talk that way.
Oh, I know. So the first 15 years of my profession, I was extremely passionate, like a dog with a bone, to learn as much as I could about manual work. So I got skilled in pretty much everything there is: myofascial release, craniosacral therapy, Mulligan's mobilization with movement, McKenzie's, protocol. I mean, you name it, I was trained in it. Strain and counter strain.
Where did you go to learn that stuff?
Oh my gosh,
I know about it. Yeah.
I spent so much money after I graduated, especially the first 5 years after I graduated. They were all continuing ed courses. And if it was within driving distance, I went to it. And it was very
You loved
expensive.
it. It's your passion. You love it.
Absolutely. And the more I learned, the more I could help people.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was my first 15 years. And then I was introduced to this way of training the body that the Gray Institute teaches, GRAY, and they don't teach the public. They only teach movement professionals like PTs or athletic trainers or whatever. So when I realized how well this worked for my patients in the clinic setting, I started teaching it in classes at the local college, the community classes, and saw that I could help a whole bunch of people at the same time. Because when you're doing manual work, you're only helping one person at a time.
Yeah.
And how many people can you help? But if you can start teaching a lot of people at once, you can help a lot more people. So I got very excited about this. I created an online program where I teach this in depth. I don't work for the Gray Institute. It's not a program by them. I have to make sure I say that. But it's what I've learned from them. I've taken their advanced coursework. Actually, I've completed their fellowship in applied functional science, which is 40 weeks. It's like 250 hours. And it will make your head hurt because it's like a PhD in human biomechanics. But I can watch somebody do 6 different movements and I can figure out where the problem is, no matter where they experience their pain. And then I can show them how to do movements to work to resolve it. And it's very effective. I cannot tell you how many people have been helped by this training who have been able to resolve pain, get their life back. Does it help 100%? No, of the people. I don't know anything out there that helps 100% of the people, but
Yeah.
it's pretty effective. I would say 90 something percent of the people who do the trainings see success, at least of some point, no matter what's going on with them. It really obviously depends on the person. Every person's like a fingerprint. We all have a different history. We all have different medical issues. We all have different lifestyles. And so it will depend on what's going on in their world and how much they're able to do. But the whole point of it is when you're doing the movements, the goal is to do movements that make your brain happy, not that make your brain think that it's got to protect you from you because the repetitions hurt. So there's no potential harm, only potential benefit. You use all the modifications necessary to perform the motions free of pain, completely stable and safe, and you see progress.
All right. Hold that thought. I'm going to write this down. See progress. We have to go to our commercial break.
Okay.
And then we're going to tell them how to find you and all that good stuff and some stories. Okay. All right. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
What if school could be a place where every child feels safe to be themselves? Right now, kids are growing up in a complicated world. They're learning how to listen, how to care, and how to find their voice. Kokori's daily digital calendar of research-backed lessons helps children build confidence, empathy, and resilience through joyful play-based learning. When children feel connected and supported, they don't just learn more, they grow into kinder, braver humans. Kokori, helping kids grow together.
Hey, it's Hilary from the Getting Real with Hilary show. Life can be messy, raw, and real. And sometimes we're afraid to feel vulnerable. We're afraid to be that real self. Well, that's exactly what the Getting Real with Hilary show and Getting Real movement is all about. Being our true selves. Every week, I bring you stories of transformation, authenticity, and hope. People getting real with their struggles, their faith, and their breakthroughs. So don't miss a thing. Subscribe to my weekly newsletter today. You'll get stories, links to everything new, and how to create a life you love every week directly to your inbox. You can also find my books on Amazon. My courageous and riveting memoir, The Second Piece of French Toast, in case you feel stuck in your life and want to get inspired. How I came out about my no sex life and my marriage, and my second book, Real Talk. That one will get you speaking up in ways you've been too afraid to do so, and really creating amazing freedom. And my third book, How to Stop Fixing Yourself and Start Having Fun, the name is called Your Bullshit is Your Blessing. Find links to everything and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Getting Real with Hilary, and you'll find the links in the header. So, visit. And you can also visit gettingrealwithhilary.com because the real you is worth it and wants to come out. What if spiritual transformation didn't have to feel confusing or out of reach? When I met Dr. Kay Narayan, a spiritual teacher and healer, what struck me most wasn't just his presence. It was how simple he made something that can feel so complex. In his book, Spiritual Transformation, 12 Steps to Freedom, Joy, and Your Highest Life, he breaks it down into a clear, step-by-step process. So you're not just inspired, you actually know what to do. This isn't about rare experiences or abstract ideas. It's practical, it's logical, and it's written in a way that just makes sense. And what I experienced myself was a feeling of lightness, of ease, of finally understanding. If you've been searching for something deeper, but want it to feel real and accessible, this is for you. You can get a free copy of his book right now. Just cover shipping and handling. The link is below, because the life you're looking for might be simpler than you think. Have you tried diet after diet and workout after workout, only to be frustrated by the lack of results?
What if you had a coach who created a plan specifically for your body, your goals, and your lifestyle? Meet Kayvon BU of Hammer Fitness. Kayvon helps people lose body fat, build lean muscle, and transform their bodies through personalized fitness coaching, customized nutrition plans, and ongoing adjustments as their bodies change and adapt. The results speak for themselves. Just look at these incredible client transformations. If you're ready to stop guessing and start seeing results, contact Kayvon BU today on Instagram at kayvon.bu or by phone at 437-774-5688. Your transformation starts with one decision. Make it today. And thank you, as always, to our sponsors. Thank you for making this show possible and for your generosity. And now we'll return to Eileen so you can find out how to find her. And because I know I was doing the ankle exercises for my knee, and they really, really, really helped.
Yay!
Yeah, I don't have that pain anymore.
Yay!
Weird
Oh,
stuff.
Hilary, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
I know. Well,
great.
here we are. Yeah. Yeah, and I just was doing the knee. There's 3 basic ones on both sides, and it really seemed to help. So yeah,
Beautiful.
you just
Very
forget when you forget, and then you're like, oh, I don't have that knee pain anymore. You just
Isn't that funny how that happens?
yeah, you're not
Yes.
you're just not thinking about it. So it's pretty cool.
Yes.
So this works, and I know. All right, so you learned this from the Gray Institute. That's where you got that PhD in human biomechanics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extensive training. Yes. It's not an actual PhD, but it
Right.
could be one. Yeah.
Right. So you really studied the body. You did all these other techniques. Tell us well, all right. Tell them how they find you first, and then we'll go back to some of the stories.
Okay. So
They find
the
you.
easiest would be because I have a lot of online content. I have a YouTube channel. I have, a Facebook page. I've got my Move Without Pain private club. I've got my Have Lifelong Wellbeing Academy, and there's a lot on there. So people get very like deer in headlights. I don't even know where to go for what I want.
Mhm.
So I have a main website that
Okay.
has a 5-question quiz that takes less than 2 minutes to answer. And it will provide for them a page of all the resources I provide for their specific concern.
Okay.
So it will help aim them at what they need. Like if their concern is incontinence or balance issues or weakness or whatever.
What's
So
the
the website is havelifelongwellbeing.com.
Okay.
I know it's a long handle. Have
lifelong
wellbeing.
Okay. No dashes or anything.
Nope.
Okay.
And they can also
Have
access
lifelong-
my books on there. I've got books that I've written and any live courses, virtual courses, anything else is on that website that they can find out about.
Okay, great. All right. That's good to know. Okay. So that's the main place. And then, so you were saying incontinent, you were saying incontinence, you were saying, so more than just knees and backs, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Movement can improve a lot of things, and incontinence is one of them because the pelvic floor gets weak. And, Kegel, if it worked, we wouldn't see all those aisles of disposable underwear everywhere we go, right? So there's more to it than that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us some of your success stories so that people can relate.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, I'll tell like different kind of topics. So one is, we think when you're older, you can't get stronger. Like you're just supposed to decline.
Mm-hmm.
You're just supposed to end up at some point in a nursing home or whatever and lose your independence. So I had this gentleman come into the clinic. His wife brought him and he was 86 years old and he was sitting in the chair and she was standing next to him. And she was telling me that he used to be very active. He would walk to the corner store every morning and get the paper and all of that. And he stopped doing any of that. And now he needed her to help him to get up out of the chair. So he looked up at me and he said, "Don't you think at my age I should be allowed to rest?" And, well, what do you want to do? Just stop living? So I just looked down at him and I said, "Well, if you want your wife to dust you off once a day." He kind of got a shocked look on his face. But within just 2 or 3 weeks, I don't remember if it was 2 or if it was 3, but I know it was 3 or less. He was strengthened enough where he could leg press 200 pounds and he could get out of the chair like a shot. And he was 86 years old. And we didn't injure him. We strengthened him safely.
So what were a couple of the things you did with him?
It was strengthening, pure strengthening. Yeah. So the human body is designed on a cellular level to respond to whatever you do. And if you stop moving, it responds to that. And it gets weaker. If you exercise, it responds to that and it gets stronger. Doesn't matter how old you are. I've had people over 100 years old doing squats and parallel bars in nursing homes.
Wow.
So that they could go from a 2-person transfer to a 1-person transfer because it made a huge difference in their life quality. Because if you had to wait for 2 aides to have time to come and help you, you were going to wet your pants because it wasn't going to happen. But if you only had to wait for 1 aide, the odds were they'd get there in time.
So where did they find you? They would come to your class or you would go to the nursing homes?
Well, I've worked in every setting there is. So when I've worked in nursing home settings, that's when I've done that. And this gentleman was in the clinic setting. But to tell other things like how the body's connected. I had one guy come in who was being treated for neck pain and he was seen by somebody else 8 or 9 times. And I'm looking through the notes and there was no change in his symptoms. And it was just useless. If I could be blunt, it was useless crap. They were doing ultrasound, massage, range of motion exercises. Because we all know if your neck hurts, if you just keep turning it, it'll stop hurting. I mean, what nonsense is that? It's even illogical, right? So he got on my schedule because his therapist was on vacation. And I'm looking at the notes and I said, if you don't mind, can we do something different? Because it doesn't look like what we've done has helped you. And he was very happy to hear that because he wanted to get better. So I said, tell me, when do you get your neck pain? And he said, when I take my morning walks. By the end of my walk, I've got horrible neck pain and a headache and I don't want to give up my walks. I love them. And I said, because I know how the chain of the body works and walking requires really healthy ankle function. I said, have you ever sprained your ankles? And he said constantly in college because he was in a lot of sports. So I checked his ankles and he was lacking range of motion, like big time. Healthy dorsiflexion is anywhere from 10 to 30 degrees. He was at 0 on one foot and he was at -5 on the other. He was actually stuck in plantar flexion. Wow. And so I mobilized his ankles, showed him how to lengthen his calf muscles because they hadn't had to lengthen in years. And he never came back. His neck pain was cured. He could walk with no neck pain because his ankles were causing this strain right up the body. And the neck was the victim, but the culprit was the ankles. So when you understand the connection, and I, in my book, Pain Culprits, I say everything's connected to everything else like 50,000 times in that book, because it is. Your knee depends on your ankle and your hip. Your low back depends on your trunk above and your hips below. Your shoulders depend on your trunk and your pelvis. Your neck depends on your trunk and your pelvis. So we're always beating up the victim because that's where the symptoms are. But we often miss the culprit, which is causing the problem. And so that's why it's so important to me to get this information out there because this is not mainstream knowledge, but it needs to be.
So one of my friend's daughters she's had a sprained ankle, or they told her it was a sprain. She's had it, I think, for 2 months and no one's been able to help her.
Yeah, that's a problem.
So she could go to your website and see, right?
Yeah. Is she weight bearing?
Well, she's trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's young,
Because a lot of the biggest things, I mean, the Gray Institute determined that a lot of the reasons ankle sprains take forever to recover is because we do this nonsense of rest, ice, compression, and elevation, and it actually delays healing of the ankle.
Oh.
The faster you're weight bearing and mobilizing the ankle, the faster you heal. But of course, this isn't about causing people trauma and severe pain.
Right.
You're not going to tell somebody, oh, I don't care how much it hurts, suck it up. That's not it. But you can be sitting in a chair and very gently pushing in on that foot and causing a little bit of weight bearing that's tolerable. and you can just slide that foot back and forth on a towel on a linoleum floor, and you can get dorsiflexion and plantar flexion. You can start to mobilize. You can turn the foot. I mean, there's so many things that you can do to get it started that is safe, but will move you forward.
Okay. All right. Good. I'll let her know. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right. I like the stories about the young athletes. with
Yes.
the shoulder problem, and
Yes.
you fixed them.
Oh, yeah. So that was the 22-year-old football quarterback from the local college who was rock solid muscle from his toes to his nose. And he came in with a diagnosis of shoulder and elbow tendonitis. And I assessed him, and there was nothing wrong with his shoulder, nothing wrong with his elbow. And so I asked him, what's the deal here? Why? And he said, well, when I do the 3-hour practices with 3-man throws, which is what quarterbacks do, he said, I have to stop early because I'm in pain and it stops me. So I said, okay, show me how you throw a football. And he showed me how he throws a football. And that ankle was so stinking unstable, I was surprised he didn't fall over. And I said, how long have you played with that unstable ankle? And he said, well, I roll over on it a lot in practice and I have to walk off the pain, which of course kind of freaked me out because I'm thinking, why would his trainer and his coach let him play with such an unstable ankle? But I guess quarterbacks are okay to be unstable. I don't know. So anyhow, I treated his ankle. I showed him what to do to stabilize the ankle. We mobilized it. We stabilized it. I don't think it took 3 or 4 sessions because he was 22 and extremely healthy. And it resolved like that. And he could do all 3 hours with no more shoulder symptoms. And the reason for that, for people who think this might be voodoo or weird stuff, if you stand up and you go to throw something, your foot that's forward has to stabilize you at the right timing so that when you release the baseball or when you release the football or when you release the frisbee, you got to be releasing at the right time because you're stabilized. If you're not stabilized, your shoulder kind of goes every time.
Wow.
Because your body's not stable. So your shoulder goes further than it should. And yeah, after a couple of hours, those structures are going to get a little irritated, a little inflamed, and they're going to complain. So,
wow.
So everything's connected to everything else. And if you walk into someplace and they see you as a body part, oh, you're a knee, you're a shoulder, you're a back, they're going to be limited in how much they can help you. They have to understand the connections.
And why don't more people know this?
Well, if you want to get a little political,
I like political. No.
My profession is kind of like it's a network that doesn't want to change.
Now, which profession are you referring to?
Physical therapy.
Okay.
The exam, the licensure exam has changed very little in 45 years. So that goes to show you there's something wrong there. And the biggest issue is trying to get this information into the schools, into the colleges, so that the students learn this. And the institutes that know this, that have attempted to get into the college, that have had the door shut in their face every single time. So it's political.
And is that like Gray? Is that like
Gray Institute? Yep. They've been blackballed. They won't allow them anywhere. And it's like, okay, they've been teaching for almost 50 years. The people who've taken their training are so good at what they do. The number of people they've helped is phenomenal. The Gray Institute works with famous teams. They work with sports teams. They have a 0 occurrence of ACL injuries in their sports people.
Wow.
Now that's unheard of, but that's because they train them in 3-plane function. So their ankles are working, their hips are working, so their knees don't get trashed. So
who would be keeping them out of the PT? Like who?
The educator body that's in charge of what gets taught. I've never really looked into it in detail, but considering their track record, their history, the success they've had with people, it's phenomenal that they haven't been allowed in. Wow. It boggles my mind.
And does anyone else do that, or are they the main?
They're the main ones. I
Okay.
don't know anyone else that teaches it in the depth and the way that they do. Yeah.
And why do you think they only teach professionals and not people?
Well, they go pretty deep into the anatomy.
Oh,
Yeah, and not your average layperson is just their eyes are going to glaze over and they're going to get lost.
okay.
So,
But
but
you're not going
I've
for like,
spent I've spent 15 years learning how to teach it in a simple way where people don't need to understand. I'll show an anatomy picture and I'll explain, look, see the hamstrings attached here and it comes past the knee on either side, which is why it controls rotation of your knee when you walk. So I just kind of show them the picture, but I'm not going into deep detail,
Mhm.
the attachments and but people can learn. I mean, I teach them how a muscle contracts and they get it. I mean, I've got students in my academy. I call them students. Most of them are in their 60s, some in their 70s and 80s.
Whoa.
And they want to live life large as long as they're breathing. And they do. I mean, they're hiking, they're getting on the ground with their grandkids. I mean, they're living life large because they know what to do.
Wow. My mom, she was a tennis player and everything. Wait, I'm just writing this down again. Have lifelong wellbeing.com.
Yes.
Have lifelongwellbeing.com. Okay. So she was active, played tennis, did everything. And then she had a little episode where she, I don't know, something disconnected and she fell down. And so now she had 2 caregivers and they didn't let her walk. Like they had to hold her. She got so much weeker and she
Oh my goodness.
she just passed away a month ago. Yes, it was
Yeah.
a year from
I'm
that.
sorry for your loss. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. She because she had been an athlete all her life, and we're like, come on, mom, you can get up, but she just got so weak. I mean, she was 96, so but still,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're preventing falls, but you're also weakening her. So it's kind of like,
Yeah, you're promoting decline.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have told people that, the only way to prevent a fall is to keep somebody in bed. They can even fall if they're in a wheelchair. In the nursing home setting, there were a lot of patients who would reach over to get something off the floor and fall out of their wheelchair. So,
My gosh.
walkers don't prevent falls. People
Right.
think they do. They don't. They're there for support if you're weak, but they won't prevent you from falling. Same with a cane.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's a whole chapter on that in my book on aging culprits. I talk about assistive devices and
Right. And is that pain culprits? Or
that's in my book, Aging Culprits. Yeah, I have one book on pain and one on aging. Yes.
okay. So pain culprit, and they can find those on your website. Pain culprits and aging culprits. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
Well, I don't
great
actually
read.
sell them from my website, but they are on there, and they can buy them at Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it shows people what to do. Now they can also go to your website after they do the quiz, the 5-question quiz. Is that they'll get free exercises to start with?
Well, I mean, I have my YouTube channel that has tons of exercises on
Okay.
it. So what they're going to get is a page that will give them all the resources that I have, whether they're free or whether they require purchasing. They'll see everything that's available for the topic that concerns them the most. And so if it's pain, it's going to bring them to the Move Without Pain private club.
Okay.
There is the free membership to get them started. And then if they see that works and that would really benefit them, then they can join the paid level. Yeah.
Okay. And what is your YouTube channel called?
It's just my name,
Okay.
which I know is, Eileen Kopsaftis, who's going to know how to spell that. But yeah.
KOPSAF. F as in Frank, T as in Tom, IS. And we'll have it on the show so they can see it.
Okay.
And then we'll also have lifelongwellbeing.com underneath your name so they can also see that. Okay.
Yeah. And I've got lots of playlists on my YouTube channel. So like if their concern is plantar fasciitis or some other thing, they can, yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right, great. Now in our last couple of minutes, what would you like to leave people with? What's your vision? If you could have what you wanted in the next 5 years, what would it look like?
Yeah. Well, my passion in life is to erase pain from the world. I would love to be able to have to change careers because nobody was in pain. That would make me ecstatically happy. I don't see that happening. But that's what I would really love. But my goal is to reach as many people as possible. I don't really focus on growing my YouTube channel, but I do know, it's been kind of organically sort of increasing. I do know the more subscribers, the more people it will reach because YouTube will promote it. I know there's all these algorithms and all this other stuff. I don't really have the time or the inclination to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do a lot of online events that are free. I'll have anywhere from 400 to 800 people attend them.
Wow. And
but
how do they find out about those on your?
I have a monthly newsletter that they can sign up for if they go on that website.
Okay.
And that always announces whenever anything comes out.
Oh, great.
But my biggest passion really is to be able to help as many people as possible, to have, anybody who hears this message to share it with other people. Everybody here who's hearing this, I'm sure, either experiences pain in their own body or they know somebody who does.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the times they can become free of pain, and it's not that difficult. But they need to know the right things to do and how to do them. And that's it. The amount of human misery in the world, it would keep me up at night if I didn't use lavender oil.
Wow.
And if I didn't pray, for peace. But yeah, that's really, I just want everybody to know you're a whole body. You're not a body part. Everything is connected. Don't let people see you as a body part.
Mm.
And if something's not helping you after 3-4 times, it's probably not going to. So there are so many people out there that have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get out of pain. And there's so many programs out there that are just absolutely useless.
Mm.
So you need to find somebody who sees you as a whole person and listens to you, hears you, and works with you in the ways that you need.
Mm. Thank you, Eileen.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. People don't know about this. So spread the word, everybody.
Yes,
Spread the word.
yes, please.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work you do and for your commitment to people. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye, everyone.
Thank you for watching this episode. I started getting real with Hilary when I discovered that I was a people-pleasing, pleasant phony and wanted to be more of my real self. We can grow together if you will like the show, subscribe to my channel, and share this episode with your friends and family so that we can have a world that's more real.